Voting laws. You voted, you defend voting laws that said getting rid of ballot harvesting is a good thing that we did. So you've defended the Florida voting laws.
And you've actually laws in the country.
The Florida voting laws?
Florida election laws are the best election laws in the country. And go ask Arizona, go ask California, go ask New York. We do it the best.
You were nominated for Speaker.
Yeah.
You've been in Congress one term.
Yes.
What were your qualifications to be Speaker of the House?
Well, look, I think my colleagues, they recognize my leadership, and they've seen it in many leaps and bounds.
Can you give specifics?
In one term. Secondarily, I've served before at the state level, now here at the federal level.
What were your specific qualifications to be Speaker?
I actually understand budgets. I understand what the long-term ramifications are.
What is the job of the Speaker? Hold on a second. We have to have a conversation.
I'm trying.
You're cutting me off. Hold on. What is the job of Speaker? Can you explain what the job of Speaker is? Because the job of Speaker doesn't have to do every single member of Congress has served in. Okay, what is the job?
The job of the Speaker of the House, number one, is to actually make sure that the Congress is operating on time. It largely sets the agenda for the conference. For the entire House of Representatives. It actually engages in negotiations with the Senate and the White House on major issues, key issues. The Speaker of the House has security clearances that most members do not have. You're number three, obviously, in line to the presidency, and there's much, much more. And the job is critical. Oh, and by the way, the Speaker of the House is also responsible for security
and fundraising. Right.
Course.
And so you've been there one term, and you're saying that you would be prepared after one term to do the job that Speaker Pelosi and others who were in leadership. You ran for leadership, and you lost that leadership race to the congresswoman, a congresswoman who ended up being in leadership, right? So you were not elected to leadership, but you believe that though you've never served in leadership ever, and you've only served one term, that you believe you were qualified because you got into it back and forth with a fellow congresswoman who was critical of the nomination because it definitely looked like they were looking for a response to Hakeem Jeffries in you.
No, that was not any.
Because you've literally been there for one term, so you've never been in leadership. I'm asking you the question.
I'm answering.
That's what. And the reason I'm asking that, I'm just going to ask you this question, is one of the things that I don't know that you said it, but members have said is that they wanted to highlight the diversity of the conference. There are 4 African American members in the House caucus, the Republican caucus. There are 56 members in the Democratic caucus. So it's more diverse. There are more African American members that are House committee ranking members. They're at the same number that are actually members of the entire Republican House caucus. Right. So do you not believe that the idea was to make a diversity statement by nominating him?
Well, actually, first, that was not the idea. Because I was in the room when the decision was made by people who chose to nominate me. That never.
And you've still not explained how you were qualified. You've never been in leadership.
Joy, are you going to let me answer your question?
Sure. Tell us.
Okay. Number 2. Now let's go back. The reality is that a lot of members actually do believe in my ability to lead. They do. Am I to be despised for my youth? Because I've served one term, when members know that I have the ability to engage other members through the conference. But it's even bigger than that. Listen, we were at an impasse last week in our speakership elections. We got that done. Kevin McCarthy is now Speaker of the House. At the same time, I was working with members on both sides of our conference to make sure that we can get the job done, and we did. And that's the only thing that matters. Look, what we told Democrat leadership when they went down this pathway of removing members from committee is basically saying you should not do that. Because if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Let's be very clear. Ilhan Omar has said things that are reprehensible. Hold on. Let me finish. She has said terrible things about the Jewish community, so much so that resolutions had to go to the House floor about them, and they were watered down. With respect to Eric Swalwell and to the other gentleman, that's something for Speaker McCarthy to speak to in more detail because he's going to make those decisions. But we were very clear in the 117th Congress. We should not be going down this pathway of saying, oh, that member said this, they got to be kicked off of committees.
But that is happening.
No. What we're doing is, so you did it. So now this is what happens. This is the response. Let's get back to the status quo of you pick your committee people, we'll pick ours. We are actually going to get to border security. We're going to get to energy policy. We have to go through debt ceiling. We're going to have to figure out a way to cut our spending, curtail our spending, because we're living well beyond our means. That is the work of the Republican conference in the next Congress. This other stuff, that's kind of a sideshow. My friend Jody Arrington, who's going to chair budget, he wants to look into the budget and also look into entitlements. Do you know that Social Security is going to be insolvent in 2035?
It is not going to be. That is not true. That is actually not true. No, it's actually not true.
Now, Joy,
it's actually
I'm a
not
finance
true.
professional.
It's actually not true. But it's actually not true.
In the financial community,
that's actually not true. That's actually not true.
Will go insolvent.
That's actually not true.
Those are the facts.
That's not true.
Should we not prepare for that?
What the Republican Party and what the Tea Party have proposed is privatizing Social Security, which would actually subject Social Security to the whims of the market, which I don't think that people. That's not what they paid into. No,
if you look at the returns of the S&P 500 since 2006, the returns of the S&P 500 since 2006.
You're saying so you support privatizing
I
Social Security?
No, I want to explain to you. I am a financial professional. I'm securities licensed. Actually, I just lost my licenses because I'm not allowed to trade anymore because I'm a member of Congress. Mm-hmm. But let me assure you, if you look at the S&P 500 from 2006 until today, the growth rate in the S&P 500 would have more than taken care of Social Security, way more than the federal government has.
And each time that you had a crash, it would subject people's Social Security funds to crash. Hold on a second. So let me just hold on a second. We're not going to have a whole long thing on Social Security, but let me just be clear. You are in favor of privatizing Social Security.
No, I'm not in favor.
But you just argued for it.
I said you brought it up, and I brought you the facts. But you argued S&P 500.
So if a bill came forward to privatize Social Security, you'd be for it.
No, because what we should be doing.
Okay, then it's a moot point.
It's not a moot point. You're trying to put words in my mouth.
But you just explained that the S&P would be a better return than Social Security.
Better returns.
So then you're for privatizing.
That is a fact.
Okay, so
don't cheapen privatization when the data is crystal clear that the returns would have been better.
Okay, you're for it. You've said that you're for it.
That means that it would have been a better situation than what we've seen to this point.